What if I told you that most of the money you use every day doesn't actually exist in the form you think it does? The money in your bank account isn't sitting in a giant vault with your name on it. And when you transfer $100 to someone, the bank usually isn't physically moving $100 from one place to another. So where does money actually come from? Who creates it? Why does it have value? And perhaps most importantly, what actually happens when money disappears? Because money isn't just cash. Money is a system. And once you understand that system, banks, debt, inflation, interest rates, and even financial crises start making a lot more sense. Imagine you walk into a store and buy a $100 phone. You hand the cashier a $100 bill. The paper itself is almost worthless. You can't eat it. You can't build a house with it. Yet people accept it because they trust that someone else will accept it tomorrow. That's the foundation of modern money, trust. But here's where things get interesting. Most of the money in the economy isn't physical cash. It's digital numbers sitting inside bank accounts. And banks play a huge role in creating that money. Imagine you walk into a bank and ask for a $10,000 loan. The bank approves you. You might imagine the bank opening a vault and handing you $10,000 in cash. But that's usually not what happens. Instead, the bank creates a deposit in your account. Suddenly, you have $10,000 you can spend. The bank has created new purchasing power through lending. And this is one of the most important ideas in modern finance. A huge amount of money exists because someone has debt. When the loan is created, new money enters the economy. When the loan is repaid, that money can effectively disappear from the banking system. So money isn't always created by printing paper. A lot of it is created when banks make loans, and this is why interest rates matter so much. When borrowing is cheap, people and businesses tend to borrow more. They buy homes, they expand businesses, companies invest. Economic activity increases. But when interest rates rise, borrowing becomes more expensive. People delay buying houses. Businesses think twice before expanding. Investors become more cautious, and the flow of new credit can slow down. This is why central banks pay so much attention to interest rates. In the United States, that's the Federal Reserve. The Fed doesn't control every dollar in existence, but it has enormous influence over financial conditions. When the economy is weak, central banks can lower interest rates. When inflation becomes too high, they can raise rates. Think of it like a thermostat. Too cold, you turn the heat up. Too hot, you turn it down. But the economy isn't a simple machine. Because money doesn't just affect prices, it affects people's behavior. Imagine two people. One has $100,000 sitting in cash. The other has $100,000 invested in assets. If inflation rises significantly, the purchasing power of that cash falls. The number on the bank statement might still say $100,000, but what that $100,000 can actually buy has changed. And that's what inflation really means. Not simply that prices are going up, but that each unit of money buys less than it used to. Now here's another important piece. The government spends more money than it collects in taxes. It runs a deficit. To finance that deficit, the government can issue debt. Investors buy government bonds. The government gets money to spend. And now you have government debt, bank debt, corporate debt, mortgages, and credit cards. All of these claims are connected. The financial system isn't just a pile of money, it's a giant network of promises. Your bank deposit is your asset. But from the bank's perspective, that deposit is a liability. Your mortgage is your liability. But to the bank, it's an asset. And as long as people believe those promises are reliable, the system works. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit like and subscribe to the channel for more simple finance stories. But what happens when trust disappears? That's when things can get dangerous. Imagine thousands of people suddenly believe their bank might fail. They all want their money back at the same time. If everyone demands their money immediately, the system can come under enormous pressure. That's a bank run. One person withdraws money, then another, then thousands. And suddenly, a problem that started with confidence can become a real financial crisis. This is why trust may be the most important invisible ingredient in money. But there's another layer: leverage. Leverage means using borrowed money to control a larger amount of assets. Imagine you have $10,000. You borrow another $90,000. Now you control a $100,000 asset. If that asset rises in value, your returns can become much larger relative to your original money. But if the asset falls, your losses can become much larger too. That's why leverage can make financial markets grow incredibly fast and collapse incredibly fast. So how does money actually work? Money works because people believe it has value. Banks expand the money supply through lending. Central banks influence the cost and availability of credit. Governments influence the economy through spending and taxation. And the entire system is connected through debt, assets, and promises. But there's one final piece. Money is only useful because it represents purchasing power. You don't really want money. You want what money can buy: food, a house, education, healthcare, travel, time, security, freedom. And that's why inflation can be so powerful. If money and credit grow faster than the amount of goods and services available, too much money can end up chasing too few things. Prices can rise. And your money can lose purchasing power. That's why earning more money isn't necessarily the same thing as becoming wealthier. If your income increases by 5%, but the cost of everything you need increases by 7%, you're actually losing purchasing power. And this is the part most people miss. Wealth isn't simply how much money you have, it's how much value your money can command. So the next time you look at your bank balance, remember what you're actually looking at. You're not looking at a pile of cash. You're looking at a number inside a massive financial system built on trust, credit, debt, assets, and promises. Interest rates change, credit expands and contracts, governments borrow, banks lend, businesses invest, consumers spend. And all of those actions influence the value of your money. If you want more simple finance stories that explain how the financial system actually works, subscribe to the channel. Because once you understand how money works, you start seeing the economy completely differently. And you realize something surprising. Money isn't just something we use. It's one of the most powerful systems shaping the world around us.